I think creativity, what I got to the other day was that creativity is also courage
I like that.
because you have to come up with something that you thought of and then you idealized and then brought it to fruition and then you have to go present it.
Yeah.
What
Talk about how to be creative. And I think it's a really good conversation to start off on, actually, for launching the Be Omni Conversation,
Yeah.
especially coming from someone like yourself and I. And you said it yesterday on the phone where, you have a ton of people around you, but do you have the individuals around you that you can actually have the conversations that will evolve you and move you forward in the right way?
To be your soundboard.
Yeah, to be
I
your
think we're saying
soundboard
a
is what you
soundboard.
called it, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually a really good point because there's certain things and topics and experiences that I would love to have conversations with or about,
Mm,
but I don't always have the soundboard to talk with them.
yeah.
And I used to have that when I lived in Salt Lake City when I was with Keegan, Mark, Michael,
Yeah.
Aaron, Brandon, Roger. Like, I can throw all those names down, which you all met. Sam, you met all those guys that I was out there with.
Yeah.
I used to have those conversations on a daily basis where all you did was you'd walk into the gym and you're supposed to get work done. And next thing you know, for the next 4 hours,
Yeah. You're just talking.
you're just talking
Yeah.
and talking and having a legit conversation. But I'll be honest, man, like, those were some very formidable times of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't have that as much anymore out here. And that was something that I talked about and shared, with Savannah when we moved back out here. It was like, yeah, I don't have that connection no more. And I do have some people out here I can do it, and you're
Mm,
one of them.
yeah.
Especially because of the fact that yourself as an entrepreneur, as a creative, it allows you to actually kind of like be that much more introspective of like what it is you're trying to do with like your work.
Yeah.
And those who are watching this and haven't heard of Omni Athlete training systems or heard of myself, which is George, and yourself as Eric, we go back a long time.
Fucking decade now.
Decade ago, right? We actually
Yeah.
talked about that when we were at the Adaptive Athlete CrossFit Games. We looked at it, it was like, damn, this has been a decade of knowing each other.
Yeah.
And like we've seen each other evolve drastically, like
Yeah.
from being just kids
Yeah.
to like now being adults. And like, yeah, you're 28 years old, bro, right?
Yeah.
You're an adult now. The way you carry yourself, yeah, you might be in your late 20s, but
Yeah.
like you run your own business, you do your thing, you have a life outside of your business, and it allows you to go ahead and actually live a life. And I think that's the big piece here, is talking about the be creative aspect, right? Being creative isn't just going and painting, drawing,
Yeah.
building stuff. No, being creative is like also being creative with your life as a whole and watch it evolve into something that you want it to be.
I think creativity, what I got to the other day was that creativity is also courage
I like that.
because you have to come up with something that you thought of and then you idealized and then brought it to fruition and then you have to go present it.
Yeah.
Whether you present it for people's validation or not, that's up to you. But in order for it to be accepted, you have to want there to be feedback or validation from other people. My content, I want it to be accepted if I make it for somebody else. Because if I'm making it for your brand or for your business, it's like it has to sit well with you. And so there's a piece of that that I have to give up with through the art, but it's like having the courage and the balls to just be like, fuck you. Like,
Let's do it.
not only let's do it, but at my level, like I talked about, the analogy I gave you with football was like a football player starting out, he's thinking a lot and he's playing based off of fear. The fear of, I don't want to fuck up, I don't want to let my team down. As opposed to like the star athlete, they've transcended into a different level where they're just like, no, I'm here to fucking ball out.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm good. I'm no longer thinking. I don't think about what I'm gonna do. My body just reacts. And that level of flow state, you can like you can go into that zone and you can go and have fucking 15, 20 tackles in a game and ball out as a linebacker, right? Like,
Yeah.
and for me as a creative, I feel like this week specifically, I felt like a transition where one of the biggest jobs that I've had, or one of the biggest platforms that I created for this past week, I didn't even flinch. I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then when I created, it wasn't like, let me just do what I've been doing that I know that person likes. I was like, I'm gonna do something totally different. Let's evolve and let's like do different transitions, edits, like different storylines. And that was like the courage to fucking create.
Yeah.
And I think like that flow state, once you hit that, like it's a beautiful thing in every aspect.
So my question for you then is, have you just opened your heart more to being able to be courageous instead of utilizing this fear state of, well, we'll use the individuals you just got done shooting for, so it's David Alexander.
Yeah.
And no one knows who David Alexander is. He's one of the top performance training coaches in the fitness industry of working with professional athletes.
Yeah.
And he has built a huge empire, which everyone's probably seen it before, is DBC.
Yeah.
And to be able to go and record somebody at that level, and this is something that I learned actually when I going back to the Salt Lake City time periods, was never
Yeah.
put someone on a pedestal.
No.
And that's what you just reminded me of right now while listening to you talk. Was I didn't look at David and be like, oh my God, I'm shooting for him,
No.
and put him on a pedestal. You're like, hey, he's just another dude like I am,
Yeah.
trying to build a business, share his story,
Yeah.
and help everyone in this room that he's talking with elevate. And I need to go ahead and capture that based off of my gift.
Yeah. And I think specifically as a videographer in that moment, meeting him, it was just like, what's up, bro? Like, just dap him up. Like, it's just another person. But if you show up to a shoot as a creative and you're like, oh my God, like, thank you for letting me do this. It's like, awesome. Thank you. And like, you're awesome. Like, you're this, and this. Is like, just relax. Like, just relax. Act like you've been there and just create. It's like, just treat him like treat him like any other client.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't assess an athlete differently just because they're a professional athlete. You're assessing everybody the same.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And
Yeah.
I guess when we're talking about being creative, that allows you actually to be create, or it allows you to create from the heart and more authentic.
Correct.
Right. And that's kind of one of the big pieces that I've found over the years, with myself, in terms of, I mean, you give me a camera, can I take a pretty good shot of a photo and get some really good content? 100%. Can I go ahead and run around with a DJI and record and do that stuff? 100%. But I also am really good at writing stories. I'm really good at creating and doing that in the same time period. And what I've found with all of that as a whole is like, oh, I've just learned how to take my hands from being destructive and been more creative, which ultimately have changed my heart from being destructive and closed off to be more open and to be more creative.
Yeah. Gotcha. To answer your question from earlier, I think I did open myself up to be more creative. I think I just allowed something I've been working on personally is not trying to get acceptance from, external shit. Because I think a lot of how I came up, right, like as a 12-year-old, not having like the parent figures around as much anymore, I gravitated to sports. And the validation I got from sports were from my coaches. And so I always started chasing like, oh, I'm chasing your validation. I got to ball the fuck out this game because I'm trying to get Coach Kwame to be like, yo, that was fucking dope, Rest in peace, Coach Kwame. That was one of my like mentors. And even with you, like starting off weightlifting, I was still in that mindset. And then somewhere along the line, like I just got into business and I carry so much of sports through business because it translates so well. But then there's like this piece where I'm trying to ascend to this new place, and I felt like there was this ceiling that I kept hitting. And I feel like part of getting rid of that ceiling is getting rid of the approval of people.
Yeah.
And so in getting rid of people's approval, I'm now just creating shit that I think is dope.
Yeah.
And what I think is dope just so happens to actually be dope.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just kind of operating off that.
You're seeing through your heart's eye, you're not seeing through your mind's eye anymore.
Yeah.
I think is kind of where we're going with that. And it's something that I've actually had to do a lot more of lately, the past couple of years. And everyone who's watching this, who's followed me over my coaching career the last 16 years, has seen me come up as an athlete, as a reconnaissance Marine, as an instructor at the schoolhouse, and then transitioning out into becoming a full-time professional performance coach, running my own business, running my own gym, building weightlifters, building CrossFit athletes, building humans, lifestyle humans, you can name it, we can throw whatever label you want to throw it, just building humans to go ahead and do a thing that they're chasing.
Yeah.
What I've come to realize since now 2 years ago, walking away from Softlete when I used to be with him, when I walked away from that, I carried a grudge, and I had this like regret of like, why did I walk away?
Yeah.
And I found that it actually stopped me from trying to be truly creative. It didn't allow me to go ahead and be truly authentic of what I wanted to do with my business.
Yeah.
I tried to bring the old stuff back into the new time period, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And when I started sitting on it more and reflecting and really like praying on it and getting deeper into my own faith and like, okay, cool, like, where do I need to go with this? It was like, let's go ahead and look back at what you've learned over the past X amount of years, going back to your sports, talking about what did you learn during that time period. There's a lot of really good things you've learned from it. Same thing with war. Like, I always say this in my writings, I will never stop writing about war.
Yeah.
I might have gotten rid of the negative connotations about war.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking the experiences that I had in war that offered me really good insights to who I am today, to be a man of the Lord, to be a husband, and to be a dad, and then to be a good friend and a part of the community and give back in that way. There's a lot of things we took from that. And it also then allows us to move into the way of like building our businesses and being creative, not just in our businesses, but outside of it. But really being creative means you're being creative in all aspects of your life, which not only amplifies everything you do.
Right. I think I'm very fortunate to be a creative for a living.
Right.
Like that was my thought after I created those videos. I got to sit in my room for almost 3 days straight. No training, like eating just fucking whatever's in my fridge because I just don't want to leave to the grocery store. And I sat in my fucking workflow and in my mind for 3 days. Zero distraction. And I was just able to create and just think fully as a creative. And I feel like it's tough for people who aren't naturally creative and they live more what you say rigor, like they live more structured lives, and then trying to snap out of it and be like, oh, let me think creatively. Like I think it's hard for them to understand, like you have to go wander first. Like you talked about rigor and wander, like you have to go wander in order to understand, or not to understand, you have to allow ideas to be valid.
Yeah. 100%.
I related it to like a kid, like an 8-year-old will just tell you the dumbest shit because it's just like it's coming off the top of their head and they have no societal structure that keeps that from coming out, right?
Yeah.
Me wanting to tell somebody they're a fucking idiot, like I stopped because I'm an adult and I'm like, it's not appropriate. Yeah. An 8-year-old kid is just gonna be like, hey, like you're fat. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing stopping them. And you kind of have to go back to being that kid when you wander. It's like every idea, if you're thinking about your business, every idea has to be valid until it's not. So for me, what that looks like, what that flow looks like is headphones on and I'm probably pacing around my house and I'm just walking back and forth, either my room, my living room, whatever. And I'm allowing every idea that comes in to be valid.
Mm-hmm.
And if I think about it and I'm like, all right, this is cool. Then you think about it more and you're like, nah, I like this idea more. And you keep going and going and going. Just think in a wandering state and then try to add structure later on.
Yes.
Worry about structure when you're out of that flow state. And then if that structured state deems that invalid, then it's invalid. Like this isn't going to work because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I really enjoy the fact you highlight that. I just got done teaching a flow course for Dead Reckoning Collective, which is a veterans publishing writing company. Mm. And the concept I utilized was intention, attention, flow.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a 3-step process, allowing for you to be like, all right, for me to get into flow, I need an intention. Right? And then from that intention, it allows me to have the attention to go ahead and move into the flow state.
Yeah.
Of what it is we need to do. And when you talk about like having earphones in, walk around my house and pacing, and everything is just kind of coming into my head and everything's kind of like becoming this story that I want it to be. You ever seen The Beautiful Mind?
No.
The movie? Check it out. It's really good. It's about a physics professor. He has schizophrenia.
Gotcha.
But he was able to go ahead and utilize it in a very beautiful way of like solving mathematical equations and got a Nobel Prize on it. Mm-hmm. And when I think about that, it's literally what it is. It's like you have an intention. I need to go ahead and solve this problem or this question. So now my intention is on solving this problem and this question. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in the flow to find the solution for it.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what I look at when it comes to being creative. Again, you talked about the aspects and the concept of wonder and rigor, and that I can't take credit for that. That came from an author named Natalie Nixon out of the Creative Leap, the book. And then you also mentioned this aspect of getting out of your own way and removing structure and just going and flowing. Rick Rubin wrote in the Creative Act, when you go ahead and provide structure before intention,
Mm.
you end up creating a block. As well as he also talks about in that book, when you create for the audience, you don't create from the heart.
Right.
So realistically, what I'm coming to and I'm looking at it from that aspect is like too much rigor, you're lost because you've put so much pressure on yourself to go ahead and like try and create. Too much wander, you don't have enough pressure on you to create.
Yeah.
So you need the happy balance of two to be able to create.
Correct.
But it's understanding that true balance is just chaos of the two,
Correct.
of how that happens. And then when you look at creating for yourself, you're ultimately creating for yourself because you love it.
Mm.
And the people that love you will do what? Will love your work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big piece here when it comes down to being creative is like we're all meant to be creative individuals.
Yeah. We structure ourselves to not be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
be that fucking 8-year-old.
Well, be like a child
Yeah.
and be like a child and explore and play without ramifications,
Yeah.
without issues. You know, I listened to Gary Vee actually talked about some of the things that we're going to be seeing impact our social world coming up in 2026.
I saw that video.
Did you see it also? And one of them is actually showing the things that you're struggling with, things that you are trying to learn to do that's new.
Yeah.
Showing that, oh, hey, look, I'm trying to play this guitar now.
There's people who are like, I'm learning video editing. And they're like trying to learn the most minute like the most small little task in this clip, and it's hilarious to watch them lose their shit like I did when I was learning it.
It's relatable.
And you're like, fuck, like I want to do that. This girl was sitting there like, I have this vision in my head. I wanted to go vroom vroom and then go that. I was like, I used to be that same way in my fucking room, just like running into a wall. Like, how do I do this shit in Premiere?
Yeah.
So that's very relatable.
It's struggle. Everybody wants to see others struggle because what we've seen with social media today is it's taken away the true experience of what being creative is.
Yeah. I will also say, just because I was kind of reading into this about like the economy, marketing in a good economy versus a bad economy. Marketing in a good economy, the marketing you would do in a good economy, if you do that in a bad economy, not saying the economy is good or bad, but like people are feeling some pressure.
Yep.
If you market how you market in a good economy, in a bad economy, it comes off insensitive.
Yeah.
The way and creating content is the same way. Like, I don't know how many more private jets I want to see.
I'm not going to access, I don't have access to a private jet. Do I care about seeing your private jet?
Do I want one? Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm
Yeah.
striving for it.
Yeah.
I don't need to see, like, I'm trying to see something real right now. Like, we're past that phase of social media where we're just like, let me show everybody just the highlights.
Yeah.
My vacation, my this, like, let me just see who you are for real.
Yeah. I've been on the kick right now of like what it is to truly build a brand.
Yeah.
And not a personal brand. But what I'm realizing is to build a brand, you also need a personal brand.
Yeah, and that personal brand can't be manufactured.
No.
The people who try to manufacture it, I fell into that trap. Like, making my own content, I was just so focused on, let me just get these ideas out and let me structure the ideas in X, Y, and Z so that I come across professional. It's like, people don't want to fucking see that. Like, they don't want to see. You can feel when it's manufactured through the screen. You can feel it. Like, you're just like, damn, this person wants something from me when I watch this.
Yeah, I just had a conversation with Brett. You know, we talked a lot. You heard me when you walked in. You know, when you walked in,
Yeah.
was this idea of, you know, are you going to allow the society to dictate your direction in life, or are you going to be the one that dictates it? And that's kind of what we're seeing right now when it comes to being a creative is, are you going to let social media dictate what you're putting out, or are you just going to go ahead and allow your heart to be what's going to put out?
Yeah.
I think is the biggest piece when it comes to like wanting true creativity in your life.
Right. And I think people just got hyper obsessed with the algorithm, especially this past year. Again, I'm a victim of it. Like
Yeah.
creating for my clients, I create stuff that is like custom made for them. The branding's on point. I could care less about the algorithm, but for whatever reason, when I made my own content, I was like, oh, how do we hack the algorithm? Like, how do I get through? And I was like, why am I doing that to myself?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't posted the past couple weeks. I'm like, I don't fucking like my content.
Yeah.
I rather just post that to the business where it makes sense. And it's like, okay, companies need to know that I'm comprehending marketing and that I'm able to create. Let me post it there because it makes sense.
Yeah.
My people who follow me don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They want to see Eric, and they know Eric is a marketer. They know Eric is a creative, but they want to see like the personality come out. There was a stat about content creators that I believe it was 63% fall off before the first 50 pieces of content are posted, which realistically 50 pieces of content is probably 2.5 months.
If you're putting out that much.
Correct.
So for example, when I was at Softly, we dropped 110 podcasts.
Yeah.
You think the first 20 or 30 actually hit?
No.
You know, they started hitting after the 75. And that was
75.
That was over 3 years of doing the pod. No, when we launched the podcast, 2019. That was over 4 years, bro.
Yeah, this shit takes time, dude. That's why I don't do non-contracts retainer clients. It has to be very like with you. I'm cool not doing a contract because you get it, or it's like we're working for this amount of time, X, Y, and Z. With people who are asking me questions like, how fast are we going to see the ROI on your content? How fast are we going to like? How do we measure that? I'm like, your headspace is in a different place.
Yeah. Again,
which I understand because you're in the business and like you want to see the return on you paying me X, Y, and Z. But if you think content is valuable, which I think you do because you're talking to me, why do you want to stop it at some point?
Well, we talked about it. Well Off Media, Deion Sanders Jr.
Yeah.
We talked about why did his YouTube page and videos
access
go so just grow so fast.
Yeah.
Granted, I understand Deion Sanders, the name Sanders. Heck, we even look at it right now in the Browns. Cleveland Browns are one of the most talked about NFL teams in sports media right now because of
their third string quarterback.
Yes, because their third string quarterback,
crazy
Sanders.
Yeah.
Because they're giving accessibility to what Sanders is struggling with right now, being a 5th round draft pick.
Correct.
And then being tied into a box at Cleveland Brown, knowing that, let's be honest, is he being used for his fame and for his media presence and all that good stuff? They have Myles Garrett, bro, on their team.
Yeah.
Number 1 defensive end.
Yeah, dude's a fucking tree. Yeah.
And no one's sitting there trying to talk to him, but they're talking to the third string quarterback about, hey, when are you going to get your shot and how are you feeling about this?
Yeah.
Going back to Well Off Media, Deion Sanders Jr.
All right.
He gave accessibility to the Colorado Buffs when they were 1-12.
Imagine if the Browns allowed him to go and document Shador right now.
Imagine. Dude, talk about the influx of brand promotions, views, ticket sales.
Yeah. But also I understand like from the NFL's perspective, they're like, he's a third string quarterback. He's not this X, Y, and Z. But I think him coming out and when he gets that opportunity, because he will, the storyline of all of that coming together, even without cameras on him, will be amazing if he performs.
Correct.
And I think with Well Off Media, I think he did a great job with the Colorado Buffs because, like you said, everybody's eyes were on college football, on Sanders. And there was a lot of people that are in college football who were pissed. Like, we've been around for 20 plus years. Like, what the fuck? But it's because Well Off Media understood the transition that was happening with NIL deals, with athletes being able to have their own platforms. Travis Hunter is putting out vlogs at the same time.
Shiloh is also putting out blogs.
Shiloh had vlogs. Deion had his own thing. The Buffs had their own thing. And then Well Off Media had was like the hub.
Mhm,
You have to understand the transitions when they're happening with content.
mhm. I love the fact that you bring that up, right? Because I used to be in the headspace is like, I don't want to do this thing because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, I was the same.
And I actually had that happen to me when I walked away, going back to when I started in the beginning of our conversation. When I walked away from Softly, it's the same exact thing. I'm not going to do that no more because I've done it for so long and I'm just burnt out by it.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm going against myself from being creative because I'm letting someone else dictate my own view on the world.
Yeah, it's like me saying I don't want to make vertical video because everyone's making vertical video. It's like
Correct.
this is the consumption.
Correct.
So people consume.
And what I'm learning is, wait a minute, everyone's doing vertical video, everyone's doing horizontal video. That's great, but how consistent and persistent will they be in a year from now?
Correct.
And I use this. So you've heard Noah's Ark story.
Hmm.
Have I shared you the idea? Have I shared with you my concept behind build your own ark, but not from a survival story, but from a patient standpoint?
Hmm.
Do you know how many years it took for Noah to build his ark?
No.
In scripture, it says when he was 500 years old, God told him, I need you to build an ark. The first raindrop came when he was 600 years old. It potentially took him anywhere between 70 to 90 years to build that ark.
Yeah.
So now I'm taking the same theory that I looked to, and that's getting a little bit deeper into the scripture aspect. But how fast are we so wanting things that we create to blow up?
Immediately. Yeah.
And in time has shown, history all the way back to biblical time, has shown it takes patience and faith in your efforts.
Correct.